Happy to be joined this morning with the president and CEO of DIGI Blockchain Solutions. Chris Carl joins us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Chris, it's Monday morning. I'm out of bed. Yet another financing deal just announced yet again. I think you and your shareholders obviously surprised, but this is great news. So walk me through this announcement and what it means, obviously, for the company.
Okay, well, thank you. I think we probably could say that we're almost as shocked as probably the investors are in reading about this news, because I've been out for the last couple of weeks saying that we were fully funded as a company for what we were doing organically, and we were and are fully funded. But an opportunity came our way at the end of last week to do another funding with a company called HC Wainwright out of New York.
Okay.
There's a prominent investment bank in this space. And given what we've also been talking about and alluding to in our press releases in 2021 about upcoming partnerships and even potential acquisitions, we decided that this is really a situation that we should undertake. It wasn't an easy decision. We're all shareholders, and I know at first glance it's going to seem like it's kind of a dilutive decision, but we're about to rocket this company forward even faster, and this gives us the firepower to do that. And I really see it as a separate funding from what we just did. The funding we just did made the company super secure from a cash perspective and allowed us to grow with all the things that we're already doing. This allows us to grow exponentially outside of the things that we were already doing. And I think there's nothing but good news to come in the future here.
Oh, that's excellent. Big news, as you said, HC Wainwright, arguably the most prominent investment bank in North America involved in the blockchain and cryptocurrency over the last 4 to 5 years. So walk me through, what should, first off, investors read into this? And most importantly, how did this whole deal get put together?
Yeah. Well, first off, let me just say that we have a tremendous amount of respect for the people over at HC Wainwright. They are smart people. They're great investment bankers, and they get deals done predominantly, if not entirely, with institutional investors. And that's a great thing for any startup company that's progressing through the ranks. You guys can talk about all the different companies that they've been involved in, but virtually every prominent Canadian blockchain and crypto company that has been really moving in the last couple of years, HC Wainwright has had a hand in, and the same is true for the ones in the US. Several of those companies are either have progressed onto NASDAQ or are on the way to doing that, something that we aspire to in our future as well. And the other great thing about HC Wainwright is that they provide follow-up research, which is something that any company would like to have, because it's the best way to kind of get your message out there, because somebody from third party is really giving a rigorous sort of assessment of the company on an ongoing basis. And it's something that we're excited to entertain. So we had some discussions over the last couple of weeks. They came to us basically at the close of market on Friday and said, guys, we think we can make this happen for you, and we'd really like to get involved and start to partner with you in the growth of your company. And it was a hard thing to say no to.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, how did this, as you said, this all come together? Because, prior to this, you were saying that you're cashed up, you're in a great position. Is this a situation where they come to you based on the business model that you're creating, or is this something that you approach to them?
No, in fact, they pretty much ignore anybody who approaches them. So, they definitely go to the companies they think are worthwhile, that they can generate some interest with their institutional investor base. And, at the same time, they've got a lot of reason to be cocky, but they're not. They're just the most down-to-earth, hardworking people I've ever seen. What we've accomplished just over this weekend since Friday afternoon is mind-blowing, and it's just fantastic. Right. And so my hat is off to them in every way, and they know, the type of companies that they want to be involved in. They choose them, and we're happy that we're now working with them.
Well, when I look at the history, a big notable name that they've worked with over the past 12 to 18 months is Voyager. Are there, I guess, similarities with Voyager and other companies that they've worked with and invested in that investors at DigiCrypt should take note of?
I think the biggest single similarity would be that these are companies that are doing real things, and they're on pathways to generate, massive amounts of revenue and EBITDA for their shareholders and as companies. There's always going to be in a market that is highly excitable, like crypto is. There's always going to be entrants into the market that are all flash. They're not really doing anything, but they're making a lot of noise. And I think that, again, my tip of the hat back to HC Wainwright. They're pretty good at figuring out which companies are doing real things and which companies are maybe just all kind of hype. And so if there's a similarity between ourselves and some of the other companies they've invested in,
Right.
we're highly respectful of the companies they've already invested in, and we think they're doing great things. And hopefully the market will understand that we are as well.
So with this announcement this morning, and last time we had spoke, I wanted to ask you further about the oversubscribed private placement, which puts another 5.1 into the company coffers. How will these funds with this morning and that oversubscribed from last month empower DigiCrypts to build out, I guess, the architecture needed to bring the crypto app and other initiatives to the market?
Yeah. Again, this new financing kind of flies in the face of what I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, but I see these as two different pots of capital. The $5.1 million was what we call a non-brokered deal. We didn't have an actual large investment bank behind it, but it was necessary just to make sure that we had the capital to go in and continue to develop the projects that we wanted to over the course of the year, both the two that are out there already, the PPI and the Crypto Divine, and potentially a couple of more that we want to do organically within the company over this next 12 months. And so that was why we did that funding. It gave us great safety and security, and should give our shareholders great security that we're here to stay.
Okay.
This second round from this weekend is sort of a different pot. It allows us now to go external to all the internal things that we're doing, and maybe consummate a couple partnerships that have been under discussion for a little while, and frankly, maybe even entertain some acquisitions of companies with technologies that are complementary to what we're doing, but are standalone, revenue generating silos, where some of that complementation can maybe make both companies better, but that they're going to support themselves. And I think that's quite important. We do not want to dilute the efforts of the people we already have, but if we can add to the value of the company in a significant way, this gives us a pool from which to work for doing that sort of thing.
It's great. Let's talk about business execution. Big news, obviously, 2 weeks ago, the crypto app obviously launched. What's some of the feedback that you're hearing? And from a user's standpoint, do you feel it's living up to expectations so far?
We really do. For sure, there were bugs right out of the gate. And it's one of those situations where I've said this many, many times over the years. We know we're going to have problems. We just don't know where they are yet. And we had our bugs, and it took us a few days and going into that weekend to fix a few of those bugs out. And we actually extended the 7-day trial to, I think, 10 or 12 days for the people who originally signed up, because actually those people who signed up were amazing at helping us, fix those bugs. So let's call that the first 10 days out of the about 20 days, I think, that we've been out so far. The last 10 days have been incredible. Every morning I wake up to emails and texts and WhatsApp, chat lines from people that I've never heard of before, saying how thrilled they are to work with the Crypto Divine app. And surprisingly, most of them are sophisticated traders of crypto. I mean, our market target is the novice trader, people who haven't traded before, but people who've traded before, have subscribed to other, sort of prediction services or using other tools, are now realizing and coming back and saying, you guys are just spot on. Now, don't take me wrong. We're never going to be 100% accurate. And even on the big swings, our goal is to get 70% or more of that swing between, our recommendation to buy and our recommendation to sell, or in the other direction, but we're not missing the big swings at all. And that's what's so important about our app. So we're feeling very confident that we've got a great user interface. It's more friendly. There's a bunch of changes going to be happening. I think they're getting rolled out on Tuesday. So if you haven't been playing with it recently, I recommend you get in there. There's no end to the number of times you can go in and sort of take a look at what's going on. But we're going to be finally starting to send out our notifications on text, SMS, as opposed to email, making that faster. The card system, there's sort of two information systems. There's the one that's the chart, and there's the one that the cards have been totally revamped, are going to be great on mobile. You're going to get that information instantaneously, and it's much more user friendly. And this whole thing is just getting better and better. And we've only just begun. The improvements we know are coming out over the next couple of months, I think, are just going to blow people away. It's going to be great.
When do you think or expect the app to be fully commercialized?
Well, we continue to go by the idea that we are going to continue the planned improvements, as well as I'd say approximately 50 suggestions we get every single day from our users. But we plan to have that all done by the end of May. And the product that we always have envisioned and the powerfulness of it will be there by the end of May. And so that's when we'll go to our full pricing. Whereas right now we're operating at that $29.95 a month model. After a 7-day free trial, we'll go to $99.95 then. We get asked a lot, well, will current users get a discount to that? The answer is probably. It hasn't been fully put together yet, but obviously we want to thank and provide some benefit to those who are early adopters to the system we're in now.
You have any feedback from users that are actually making money?
Again, the feedback grows by the day, but I am just thrilled with the number of people that have been saying, wow, I've only been playing with this thing for 10 days and I've already made a few $1,000s or several $1,000s.
Interesting.
And when I go back and say, okay, well, if you've got $100,000 in the market, making a few $1,000s is good. It's not. It's people having less than $10,000 invested in this and they've already made a few $1,000s. And that's what this is intended to do. The problem with crypto is that it's volatile.
Right.
And we aren't going to catch every little up and down, but we're not going to miss the big ups and downs. I mean, we put a buy recommendation out on Friday, just before this latest massive upswing in Bitcoin and primarily Bitcoin, a little bit in Ethereum. And very honestly, I haven't looked like in the last 18 hours because I've been so busy with the financing, but to my knowledge, there hasn't been another sort of sell signal. And from that, I think we're up 20%.
Wow.
So our investors are up 20% who followed the indicators.
Excitement to say the least. I want to leave this off, as you know, with the growing companies. In addition to all this momentum that's building, any startup company obviously faces hurdles. Saying that, what would you say are the biggest hurdles right now, and how do you plan to execute them, both short term and long term?
Yeah, well, thanks for that. We take things very realistically. This market and anything to do with crypto, I mean, there's a lot of excitement because the numbers that people are predicting as far as where the price can go is crazy. But we're here to make money long term for our shareholders. And I think that any company that's in startup mode has a few challenges. One of them is cash. Well, I think we've taken care of that. But two is, are we trying to take on too many things? Are we overhyping? Or are we real about what we're doing? And we absolutely are. And the only way to stay real is to make sure that the resources that we have complement, the strategies that we have. And I think that that's happening. I've said this a couple of times in our past, but at the core of our company right now is this AI engine. And we have programmers and a few business people dedicated to just continuing to make that happen. And it's being continually improved every week that goes by. It doesn't grab the headlines, but this thing just keeps getting better. That's kind of what machine learning is all about. And then branching off from that, the PPI team, the personality projection indicator, it's fantastic. And it's going to have so many applications. And there's great things happening there. It's a bit longer of a sell cycle, which is fine, but it's huge, but it's independent. The people that are working on it are not working on anything else. And so that effort is not being diluted. The Crypto Divine, something that's in front of everybody right now, we have a team of programmers and a team of business people making that happen as well. And that won't change. And that, of course, we're all excited about. And we see that as bringing massive, massive growth of revenue to our company, but massive value back to the people who are our subscribers. To the extent that we introduce one or two other similar projects, as I like to say, organically, things we already have under development, they will have their own teams as well. So there's no dilution there. And to the extent that we are entering partnerships or maybe even acquire something, we'll be acquiring the people that go along with that. And we wouldn't be getting involved in something if we don't see really short-term revenue opportunities from it. So my answer to your question, the challenge is, can we do all of these things and not just, just die or get crushed under our own, excitement? I think the answer is we can achieve it. We won't get crushed because we have independent teams happening.
Great.
At the top of the company, yes, there is myself as CEO. There's, Terry, who's joined us from Darwin.
Yeah,
as our chief technology officer, and he's just an awesome guy, both from a business and from a technology standpoint. We brought a new CFO in who's got great public company and background experience as well, together with a controller. And so that's sort of our central team, and we're setting the tone for the rest of the company. We have outside partners who've helped us build this thing out, and they act as kind of advisors to us. And I think we're just set up in every way. So our challenge is that we don't, implode under our own grand ideas, but I think we're in really good shape to make sure that does not happen.
Life of a CEO, right?
Absolutely. Always looking ahead, 3 to 6 months and 3 to 6 years, actually. But
Yeah,
I
for
think we're
sure.
doing the right things. And I want to say this one last time, because I'm a shareholder too.
Yeah.
And frankly, most of my compensation comes from options. We want to see the share price go up. We're not just interested in the valuation of the company, the price times a whole lot of shares. We think that the share price has a lot of opportunity here, because we think the overall value of the company can go up rather dramatically from this stage forward.
Well, at this rate, we may have to have you on every day, because the attention amongst the
No,
investor base is unreal. But needless to say, with a lot of the announcements this morning and just a lot of the things that you've alluded to and outlined, I can see where there's a lot of excitement. And given the overall industry itself is just garnering so much attention, it's exciting times, to say the least. Listen, I know you're busy. I appreciate you coming in this morning and speaking with us. Let's keep in touch, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
great. Thanks very much for chatting.
All right. Thanks, Chris.